Hey, this name is not clever. This is Piro. Thanks for your video response. It was very interesting, and for being so calm because, yeah, I did evidently inadvertently misrepresent you because I misunderstood you. I did think you were advocating that definition as, for objectivity in general. I guess I see your point and kind of get it. I mean, tend to agree that a lot of times people are misusing the term objectivity even from what Ayn Rand defined it to be. Um, but I usually don't notice that because what I always notice is how Ayn Rand's definition of objectivity isn't right. It's not a good definition of objectivity. Um, so anyway, yeah, I think uh, okay, I just wanted to respond really quickly, so I didn't really have all of your video in mind. But another thing is how people could conflict. I did just mean, like, let's say there's, you know, a day's worth, a limited amount of food, one family's worth of food and two families, there's a survival conflict. Okay, they can ration, maybe live off of half as much. What if there's one, with three families? You can resource crises. The other reason, for some reason, I wanted to say that what I'm trying to say in terms of accepting the real and all of this stuff is, yes, we'll need that some way up at the level of rational reasoning to accept stuff. But we don't have to actually accept that our senses are telling us what's real. That's the requirement that being a dogmatic objectivist puts on the situation. You're supposed to know stuff is actually real. And you're not held to that standard. You are held to what appears to be the case standard. You see, if you assent to what appears to be the case, there is no extra justification that it really appears to be the case, right? Except for there are some interesting things you can derive from that, like the need to be honest. Because if you assent to what appears to be the case, you have to actually look at what appears to be the case. So a lot of people are like, well, that's totally, as people have told me this many times specifically, that's totally, a libertine. Whatever appears to be the case, that's whatever you want. No. Things don't appear to be the way I want. If somebody thinks things appear to be the way they want, I would suggest they're probably not that observant. But some people maybe have everything they want, in the sense that they only want two or three things and they've got those, or But I think even anyway, forget all that. But so what I'm trying to do is that's the girder for a building, that you have to assent to what's going on. I just want to replace the wood girders with steel girders. And it's like, we'll say, well, the steel girder will fail under a certain amount of stress. But compared to the wood girder, I mean, with the wood, we didn't even know how strong the wood was. Because even if we had a general idea of how strong that type of wood was, every tree is unique. Some of them have these deep cracks and all kinds of different warps and stuff. And you don't even know. The steel, you mix it, you get very particular tolerances, and you've improved engineering. And so that's what I think understanding this stuff subjectively and relativistically is all about. It's like by getting to the truth of the matter. Even if it seems like, but wait, that truth will mean we don't know anything, we can't afford that truth, doesn't matter. No, truth never works out like that. It's always better to find the truth, and it's the truth that we are subjective creatures. And if you define things as what appears to be the case, and realize that implies that you also have to be honest. As far as the ones that want to be dishonest, yeah, they're not assenting to what appears to be the case. When you're dishonest, you're denying what appears to be the case. So anyway, a great video response. Thanks for not being too angry, because I did, misunderstand you on the one thing. And if I do overinterpret what you're saying, I want you always to take it as, well, I'm open to clarification. If you want to tell me what you really meant, that's fine. Because sometimes if people can interact that way, not going too far. But if I attribute some idea to you, that's a good way for you to come back and say, no, these don't attribute this, but this part is fine, and we understand, because we overlap in a way. So as long as it's not something too negative, and that's always the judgment call. Like, I'd be offended if somebody misinterpreted me to think I was Randian, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, cheers.